which relation does not represent a function? So first, let's go over to what a relation is and what a function is. So a relation shows the relationship between two numerical values. The relationship between them. It comes from the word relation. And then a function. What is a function? A function is a relation. A function, it is a relation. But not all relations are functions. All functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. So, what is a function? A function, it is a relation where every input corresponds to exactly one output. What is a function? It is a relation where every input corresponds to exactly one and only one output. So let's see this graph over here. So in this graph, as we can see, every x value corresponds to exactly one y value. Let's see here. 1, 2, so here 2 corresponds to 1 in the y-axis. And then we have 3 here corresponds to also only one value, y value. And then here, number 4, x value number 4, corresponds to only 1 here. So this is a function because each input, x input, corresponds to exactly one y value. So this is a function. Let's go over here. This is a different story. So as we can see here, 1 corresponds to 4 and 5. 2 corresponds to 6 and 7. 3 corresponds to 8 and 9. So as we said, a function is a relation where every input corresponds to only one y value. This is very important. Only one. So as we can see here, 1 corresponds to 4 and 5. So it is not a function. But if we wanted to make this a function, then 1 would only correspond to exactly one y value. Let's move on to number 2 here, number 2. So number 2 corresponds to 6 and 7. If you want to make this a function, then it would only correspond to 6 or only correspond to 7. So this is the right answer. Because here they're asking which relation does not represent a function, does not represent a function, and this is the right answer. Choose the graph that represents the function f of x equals to x squared plus 1. So right away we can see that this function, the leading coefficient of it, has a degree of what? A degree of 2. Having a degree of 2 means that this function is a quadratic function. What is this function? It is a quadratic function. Quadratic, which means to the power of 2. If this function is a quadratic function, then the shape of the graph would have a U-shape. This U-shape, we call it a parabola. U-shape is equivalent to a parabola. We call it a parabola. So as we can see, all of them are directed upwards. Why are they all directed upwards? Why are they not downwards? Why are they not reflected over the x-axis? Because here, the coefficient for x squared is positive 1. It's not negative. If it was negative x squared, then it would be downwards. The parabola would be downwards because it is negative. So in order to see which of these graphs is the function f of x equals to x squared plus 1, we will use something known as the vertex form, which is, let's change the color, f of x equals a into x minus h squared plus k. So this is the vertex form. We can find the vertex by using h and k, which is equivalent to x and y. So in this function, f of x equals to x squared plus 1, a would be 1, h would be 0, because here we don't have h, we don't have anything in the brackets, we don't even have parentheses in general, and k equals to 1. So if we want to find the vertex, it would be h and k, which is here 0 and 1, which is equivalent to x and y, so it would be 0 and 1. So this would be the vertex of the function. So let us see which one has a vertex of 0 and 1. So let's see the first graph. In the first graph, it would be 1 and 0. In the second graph, the vertex would be 0 and 1. Let's see the third graph. In the third graph, it would be 0 and negative 1. And in the fourth graph, it would be negative 1 and 0. So let's see which one of these has a vertex of 0 and 1. And that would be the second graph. So the second graph would be the right answer. What is the inverse of the function shown below? F of x equals to 3x minus 5. So in order to find the inverse of this function, step 1 is to interchange the x and y values. Interchange or switch the x and y values. So we have f of x equals to 3x minus 5. F of x is actually y, so it would be y equals to 3x minus 5. And then all we need to do is switch. So it would be, x equals to 3y minus 5. And then just solve for y. Step number 2 is to solve for y. Solve for y. Now let us solve for y. So the new equation would be x equals to 3y minus 5. So let's solve for y. X equals to 3y minus 5 plus 5 both sides. X plus 5 equals to 3y. We need y to be alone, so we divide both sides by 3, and therefore it would be y equals x plus 5 over 3. Y equals to x plus 5 over 3. So we found this. This is the inverse of y. So this is the inverse of the function above. So step number 3 is to just replace f of x with f inverse of x. This represents inverse. So what would be the right answer? It's not the first one, it's not the second one, it is the last one. So the last one is the right answer. 2x plus 2r. Identify the equivalent equations in terms of x. So this question is basically asking us to solve for x. So let's write the equation again. Q equals to 2x plus 2r. What we want to do here is to solve for x. So what do we want to do? We want to solve for x. So what do we do first? Q equals to 2x plus 2r. We minus 2r on both sides. Subtract 2r on both sides. Minus 2r minus 2r. Q minus 2r equals to 2x. What do we do now? We divide both sides by 2 because we want x to be alone. So x equals to q minus 2r over 2. Let's see which is the right answer. It's not the first, it's not the second. Is it the third? Yes, it's the third. So the third is the right answer. 7 times the difference of 3x and y. When they say 7 times, you know that the word times is equivalent to multiplication. Multiplication. It's equivalent to multiplication. The word times is equivalent to multiplication. The word difference is equivalent to subtraction. Subtraction. The word difference is equivalent to subtraction because we want to find what is different between those two numbers, between those two values, which in this case is 3x and y. Now, usually, when we see the word and, we think about addition. And is addition. But in this case, it's going to be different because we see the word difference. And we see the word difference of 3x and y. So we need to do the subtraction between these two variables or values. So it would be 7 times the difference of 3x and y. Because they say the difference of 3x and y in one sentence, we know that they are going to be in a parentheses. So it would be 3x minus y. Now we put the minus because it says here difference. And which one is the answer? It's not number 1, it's not number 2, it's not number 3. It is number 4. So this is the right answer. Aisha goes to the gym to exercise 5 days a week. She stretches for 15 minutes each day. So each day she stretches for 15 minutes. She runs an equal number of minutes each day. An equal number of minutes each day. So each day she runs an equal number of minutes. She spent a total of 250 minutes in the gym in the 5 days. So for every 5 days, the total of the minutes she spent in the gym is 250 minutes. So how do we approach this problem? What do they want? How many minutes did she spend running at the gym each day? They want to find how many minutes did she spend running at the gym? What information did they give us about running? That she ran an equal number of minutes each day. So how do we approach this? We first have to find the total number of minutes that she actually exercised each day. They told us that she spent a total of 250 minutes in the 5 days. But we want to find on each day, how many minutes did she spend in the gym. So what do we do here? We divide 250 by 5 because 5 days and 250 is the minutes. So 250 divided by 5 is 50. So each day she spent 50 minutes in the gym. Let's write this. Each day Aisha spent 50 minutes in the gym. Now, what do they want us to find? They want us to find how many minutes did she spend running at the gym each day. We know that she stretched for 15 minutes each day. And she spent a total of 15 minutes in the gym each day. So let's create an equation. If we want to create an equation, it would be like this. The number of minutes she spent stretching, so number of minutes she spent stretching, plus the number of minutes she spent running and this equals to 50, which is the number of minutes that she spent each day in the gym. So let us just replace these values with the actual numbers. So number of minutes Asha spent stretching, they gave us in the given. She stretches for 15 minutes each day, so we would write here 15, plus the number of minutes she spent running. Now that's the unknown, so we would use x equals to the number of minutes that she spent in the gym each day, which is 50. So what do we want? We want to solve for x. So what do? We minus 15 both sides. Minus 15. And then x would be equal to 15 minus 15, which is 35, which means that Aisha spent 35 minutes in the gym running each day. So the answer would be 35. Translate this sentence into an equation. 9 more than Ahmed's savings is 73 dirhams. The variable R represents Ahmed's savings. So let's translate this sentence into an equation. Let's reread it. 9 more than. When they say more than, this more than, it is equivalent to the addition sign. 9 more than Ahmed's savings, which here they say it's the variable R, so it would be represented as R, is 73 dirhams. Let's just write the R again. Is 73 dirhams. You should know when they say is, this is equivalent to the sign equal. So let's write this expression. 9 plus more than Ahmed's savings, which is R, is 73 dirhams. Is, which is the equal sign, 73 dirhams. Which one is it? It's the first one. Use the graph below to answer the question that follows. So as we can see in this graph, each section is increasing. However, in section Q, it is constant and it is not decreasing and it is not increasing. It is constant. So constant, it stays on the same line. It's a straight horizontal line. So let's see the answers. In section R, the function is non-linear and increasing. Now this is wrong because it is linear. As you can see in section R, it is linear. It's like this. And it is increasing, but here it says non-linear, so it's going to be wrong. In section P, the function is linear and increasing. Now this is section P. Is it linear? Yes, it is linear. And is it increasing? Yes, it is increasing. And therefore, this is the right answer. But why is it not section Q and why is it not section N? Let's see the other answers. In section Q, the function is non-linear and decreasing. Now this is section Q. It is constant, but here it says decreasing, which is wrong. It's constant. It does not decrease and it is not increasing. So this is wrong. In section N, the function is linear and decreasing. So the function is linear, but it is not decreasing, it is increasing. It's going up, it's increasing. The y values are increasing. Therefore, this is wrong and this is correct. Find the limit for the expression below. Limit as x approaches infinity of x squared minus 4 over 2 plus x minus 4x squared. So the first step over here is to find the leading coefficient. Find the leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient here is 1, and the leading coefficient here in the denominator is negative 4. Do not forget the negative sign, it is very important. So how did we know that these are the leading coefficients? It's because it's raised to the highest power, which is 2 here, raised to the highest power, which is 2. So the answer would be the ratio of the coefficients. So let's see the leading coefficient in the numerator, which is 1. The leading coefficient in the denominator, which is negative 4. Do not forget about the negative sign. It is very important. So which one is the answer? It is this one. Find the value of limit as x approaches negative 3 of x squared minus 9 over x plus 3. So what's the first step here? The first step here is to substitute negative 3 in place of x. So let's substitute negative 3 in place of x. So step number 1, substitute. Now what is it? X squared minus 9 over x plus 3. Let's substitute, so it would be negative 3 to the power of 2 minus 9 over negative 3 plus 3. Negative 3 squared is 9, so 9 minus 9 equals to 0, and negative 3 plus 3 equals to 0, so it would be 0 over 0. Now, when you get 0 over 0, what you can do is factorize this expression here. What can we do? We can factorize the expression above. So let's factorize. Let's write this. Step number 2 is to factorize. Just erase this. And yeah, let's factorize. So x squared minus 9. How do we factorize this? It would be x plus 3 and x minus 3. All of it over x plus 3. So what you can do here is you can cancel x plus 3 with x plus 3 because they are common factors. So we would have x minus 3 over 1, which is x minus 3. So what do we have to do here? Now that we have x minus 3, we can substitute x approaches negative 3 with x in this expression. So it would be negative 3 minus 3, and this leads to negative 6. So the right answer is negative 6. Choose the best description for this statement. A roller coaster, it goes down 50 meters and then up 25 meters. So let's draw this for better understanding. So the roller coaster, so here is the roller coaster. Let's put this here. It goes down 50 meters, so let's write here 50 meters. And then up 25 meters. So this would be the end point, 25 meters. So I want to find the best description for this statement. The roller coaster is below its initial height. So what is its initial height? The initial height is here. This is the initial height, and this is the final height. So let's write here initial, and here is final. So the roller coaster is below its initial height. So this is the right answer because the roller coaster is indeed below its initial height, because here is the initial height. This is the initial height and this is the final. So it is below. It's not above. It's below, and this is the right answer. It's not at its initial point, its initial height. So if it was at its initial height, it would go up till 50. But no, it's just stopped at 25 meters. So it's below its initial height.
Find log base 3 of 27 to the power of 1 over 4. First thing we're going to do, we will write log base 3 of 27 to the power of 1 over 4 equals to y. Now we need to find y. When we write it in an exponential form, we will write 3 to the power of y is equals to 27 to the power of 1 over 4. In order to make it easier, we will write 27 as in 3 to the power of something. Now 3 to the power of 3 equals 27. And now we have log base 3 of 3 to the power of 3 to the power of 1 over 4. To get rid of the 3, we will multiply 3 by 1 over 4. And the answer will be 3 over 4. So now we have log base 3 of 3 to the power of 3 over 4. And now to find y, we will write it in an exponential form again. And it will be 3 to the power of y is equals to 3 to the power of 3 over 4. So y is equal to 3 over 4.
Select all values for which m in the following expression defined. For this item type, you can select 1, 2, 3 or all choices. 15m squared n over 3 minus m. A is 0, B is 1, C is 3, D is negative 3. As you probably know that this expression is a rational expression, so it will be defined when the denominator is not equal to 0. So I'm going to focus on 3 minus m. So for A, 3 minus 0. So we're going to take the m. 3 minus 0 is 3. So this is right. Then, for B, 3 minus 1. We also took the m. So it's 2. It's also correct. And for C, 3 minus 3 is 0. So that's wrong. And now, 3 minus negative 3. Minus and minus will be plus. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So it's correct. So the right answers are A, B, and D. Simplify y minus x over x to the power of 2 minus y to the power of 2. A. Negative 1 over x plus y. B. Negative 1 over x minus y. C. 1 over x minus y. D. 1 over x plus y. As you may know, this is a rational expression. To simplify it, I'm going to let x and y up in the same order as down. To switch x and y up, we will take negative out. So, negative x minus y over x to the power of 2 minus y to the power of 2. The expression down is a difference of two perfect squares, so I'm going to factor it. Equals negative x minus y over x minus y and x plus y. I am going to cancel off any common terms, cross out anything that you see is the same on top and bottom. So I'm going to cancel off x minus y from the top and bottom. So our answer is equal negative 1 over x plus y. So the correct choice is A.
For this question, it says, choose the best description for this statement. A roller coaster goes down 50 meters and then up 25 meters. So I'll draw that so we can understand it a bit more. So it goes down, the roller coaster, 50 meters. So 50 meters down. And then it goes 25 meters up, which is around halfway of 50 meters. So 25 meters. And the initial height is here at 0. Right here. So since the 25 meter isn't at the initial height or is above the initial height, we can say that it is below its initial height. So the answer would be the roller coaster is below its initial height. For this question, it states a bakery had 252 customers last week. This week, that number is increased to 378. What is the percentage of increase in customers? So what exactly do we have to find? We have to find the percentage increase. And there's a certain formula that you can follow for the percentage increase, which is basically the new value minus the original value divided by the original value. Multiplied by 100. So firstly, let's identify the new value and the original value. So the original value is 252 customers. So here is the original. And the new value, it increased, and what it changed to is 378. So this is the new value. Let's input that into the equation we have below for the percentage increase. And we would write it like this. So the new value is 378 minus 252 divided by 252 multiplied by 100. And you would input that into the calculator and it would basically give you 50%.
So the percentage of increase would be 50%. For this question, it states the price of a liter of petrol was 2.86 AED yesterday. Today, the price is 2.79 AED. What is the percentage decrease? Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So we have to find the percentage decrease. And for the percentage decrease, there's a certain equation that you have to know, which is basically the original value minus the new value divided by the original value and then multiplied by 100, which is the formula for the percentage decrease. So first of all, we have to find the original value, and the original value, so where it started at, was 2.86, so right here, 80. So original is right here. And then the new value, so what it changed to, is 2.7980. So this is the new value. And then we can input that into the equation we have below for the percentage decrease, which we can write it like this. So 2.86 minus 2.79 divided by 2.86 and then multiplied by 100. And then if you input that into the calculator, you would get 2.4475. But since they want the nearest hundredth, which is the second decimal place, as you can see right here, it is the second decimal place. So we have to look at the thousand, which is the third decimal place, and we have to see if it's above 5. If it's above 5, you round the hundredth. If it's if it's 4 and below, you don't have to round it. But since the number behind the hundredth is above 5, we have to round 4 to 5. So it will basically be like 2.45. So the answer is 2.45%.
Find limit as x approaches h of sine squared x plus cosine squared x. So we know it's a rule that sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals to 1. So also limit as x approaches h of sine squared x plus cosine squared x is going to equal to 1. With function g is graphed below, find the following limits. So we need to find limit as x approaches -1 to the right and limit as x approaches -1 to the left. So first of all, let's find limit as x approaches -1 from the right. So here's -1, and here we can see a jump. So this one goes to the right side, and it's 2, so limit as x approaches -1 to the right is going to equal to 2. And then limit as x approaches -1 to the left. This graph is going towards the left, and it's 3, so it's going to equal to 3. The graph of a function f is shown below. If limit as x approaches b of f of x exists and f is not continuous at b, what does b equal? So we have two pieces of information here, that the limit exists and that it's not continuous. So let's check -1. Here in -1, we have an asymptote, and an asymptote means that the limit does not exist. So -1 is not going to be the correct answer. And then at 2, here we have a jump, and the jump also means that the limit does not exist. So it's not going to be our answer. And here in 3, the limit exists, but it is continuous. And in the question, they want us to find a limit where it is not continuous. So at 0, here we can see we have a hole. And a hole means that a limit exists and it is not continuous. So 0 is going to be the correct answer. The function of g of x is shown below. When g of x is graphed correctly, how should the points be drawn on the graph for the x value of 3? So let's replace the x by 3. So for the first one, 5 multiplied by 3 equals to 15. And then for the second one, it's going to be 3 squared plus 4 which equals to 13. And here, because it says x is less than or equal, when it says less than or equal or greater than or equal, it's going to be a closed circle. But for the next one, because it's x greater than 3 and it does not have an equal, so it's going to be an equal circle. So the answer will be a closed circle at 315 and an open circle at 330. Evaluate negative brackets 4 over 3 squared. So first we need to find 4 over 3 squared. And it's going to equal to 16 over 9. But then here we have a minus sign outside, so we also add it. So the answer is going to be negative 16 over 9. Simplify. Negative 1 over 6 plus 5 over 6. So here 6 does not change, it stays the same. And then negative 1 plus 5 equals 4. So now we have to simplify it. 4 over 6. So we're going to divide both of them by 2. And then it's going to equal to 2 over 3. So this is going to be the answer. Which function of the following is not continuous at x equals 3? So first of all, in order for a function to not be continuous, it has to be a fraction. So here we have this one. It's not the correct answer because it's not a fraction. And this one, it will be wrong. So here we have two fractions. The other thing that makes a function not continuous is that the denominator equals to 0. So here we can see that x equals to 3. So we can replace it here. So 3 squared plus 5. And here the denominator is going to equal to 14. And it's not 0, so it's not going to be the correct answer. And for this one, if we replace the x by 3, it's going to be 3 minus 3, which is going to make the denominator equal to 0. So this function is going to be discontinuous.